they do, but then there are also 3 extra games.
Oh, okay, just to kind of even out the draw in regards to numerical.
Yeah, so you end up with 14 round robin fixtures. And then from there, we will be heading into the quarterfinals, which we are going to be having this year for Super Rugby, then the semi-final, and then we will have the final, which will be taking place around that mid-June, like I mentioned. Moana, Pasifika, Fiji, Drua. What's wrong?
No. I'm listening to you, but I'm about to laugh at the. Anyway, I'll tell you about it in a second. Continue with what you're saying.
So pretty much, they have decided to go back to the format with the playoff games rather than kind of having it just the top 2 sides go into the final. Now we've got those knockout stages, which can kind of, I guess, give teams more of an opportunity. And also with the fact that 8 out of the 12 will be going through, means we will be seeing, I know it sounds bad to say, but we are going to be seeing at least one Australian side in those matchups because of the fact that, of course, I'm referring back to Super Rugby Trans-Tasman. And in that format, unfortunately, we didn't get to see any Australian sides playing in playoff games. Oh, don't worry,
man. Everyone here who listens to the Rugby Down Under podcast knows just how much I critique Australian teams. I said last week that no one in Australia cares. So, you're not insulting me by saying only one team. Funnily enough, the reason why I was laughing just then was that, we'll probably see the Fijian Drua, which is my team. I'm a Fijian Drua supporter. But, we'll probably see the Fijian Drua win Super Rugby before we see an Australian team win Super Rugby, which would be quite funny.
Yeah, are you backing them to be able to do it this year?
Oh, no. So, look, with the FIJIAN DRUA, they won the National Rugby, I said the NPC, gee whiz, you were going to be excited, but no, they won the National Rugby Championship a couple of years ago. I vlogged it, so if you guys who are listening want to go and watch a vlog from when we actually won the National Rugby Championship against the provincial sides in Australia, actually Western Force were playing in that competition at the time before they got reintroduced into the Super Rugby. They were playing against the Queensland country and Queensland City and Brisbane City and whatnot, and Greater Western. It was just teams from all over the place, but provincial. And Fiji won. And that was great, but Fiji, when it came to that, they were very loosey-goosey, right? They were very loosey-goosey, and they still weren't the best. They would compete, but they have a lot of mistakes in them. However, when you think about this Fiji Drua side coming into the competition, this is now a platform to actually implement the entire Fiji team into this competition. Do you realize this? If they want to bring the entire Fiji 15s team in there so that they can get more work on, I can guarantee you Frankie Lamani will go there if he's not in a long-term contract with the Melbourne Rebels. I can guarantee you that Sammy Radradra would come. I know it's not the money-wise. I know financially it's not there, but I can guarantee you Fijians are proud of their country, man. I know what the party would be like in Nandi if the Fijian Drua won that competition. And I know it's tough. We're talking about Crusaders here. Just forgive me for a second here, but we're talking about Crusaders and the Blues and whatnot. But I'm just saying they can implement a full-on 15s Fiji team, and they could actually pose a threat, mate.
See, because that's the thing. One thing that you can't really replicate is passion. And that is one thing that Fijians and also Moana Pasifika, it will have the same effect of being able to really just take it to that next level when you get that hard on the line. And it's going to be an awesome competition to see how they match up with some of these Super Rugby sides that we haven't seen them play up against. Of course, we saw the Māori All Blacks taking on Moana Pasifika, but that is the last time we saw them play. And they had the likes of, it was Michael Alatoa was actually the captain. He is now heading off to Leinster, I believe, is where he is signed. The interesting
thing, though, with Moana Pasifika is that I get nervous that it's going to include, because I believe they're based in New Zealand. Am I correct?
I think they're out of Auckland, aren't they?
I believe they're based in New Zealand, but they're obviously meant to represent the islands of Tonga, Samoa, and Fiji. But obviously we both know, and everyone here listening knows, that FIJIAN DRUA will get everyone from Fiji, and maybe, no offense, a couple of the potential rejects would go to try and make that team as well, which I doubt it, because obviously there is still some really good players in Tonga and Samoa. But I get nervous that New Zealand will implement a few of their players into that team too, because it's not necessary. You don't have to. I don't think there's a rule that you have to be from Tonga, Samoa, or Fiji. Am I mistaken in that?
No, I think it is just open season in terms of
where you're allowed. I think there should be a rule personally. I think there personally should be a rule that you have to come from a. But then again, Pacific Islands, New Zealand is a Pacific Island nation. I know. I really feel like it'd be because, like, what would be the point of Michael Hooper playing for Moana Pasifika? You know what I'm saying? Or what would be the point of Richie McCaw playing for Moana Pasifika? Do you know what I'm saying? No, like I want to see Moana Pasifika be used for the islands and specifically for the islands. But I get worried that considering they're based in Auckland, which is obviously a necessity because Fiji is the only place in the islands that would have stadiums of capacity size. And they have Lautoka and they have, they kind of have, the Ndronga Stadium. And they obviously, Nandy's not big enough. Suva's big enough. Suva's definitely big enough. But overall, man, yeah, like Fiji has the capacity, so they can have FIJIAN DRUA in their own country. But I do get nervous about Moana Pasifika. Do you have the same kind of thought process?
One player that I really hope they are able to sign, although I don't think it can happen, was Folau Fakatava. Okay. Because of the fact that since he is kind of, when he's at the Highlanders, of course, he was out for the whole season with injury, but he's always been kind of under Aaron Smith in terms of that selection. But I think if he got some minutes as a starting kind of number 9, he would really, because I know that people are already talking about him getting selected for the All Blacks once he is eligible. Jeez. Which is
gee whiz.
What was it?
Interesting. No, I'm just saying gee whiz. Not surprising. Yeah, not surprising. But yeah, look. Overall, man, it's exciting. It's an exciting rugby format. I am nervous for Australia because the thing is, we'll get into a reason why Australia might be actually on the up compared to last week in regards to the equity that we'll talk about, the private equity situation that might be able to funnel a lot more money into the Australian system. But still, like I said, like Tonga and Samoa will absolutely funnel their players all throughout this team, and you'll see some Fijians there. You may see some Kiwis there, and these two teams might actually be a lot better than people give them credit for. I really do. I feel like they could be. Like I know I gave that argument before that FIJIAN DRUA, when they were in the National Rugby Championship in Australia, had a lot of mistakes in them and kept throwing the ball around and kept knocking the ball on, and it was very frustrating to watch that team. However, that was at a time where I don't think you could include those kind of players. I don't think, or obviously they couldn't get the financial benefits from it, but like, can you imagine if FIJIAN DRUA did win and got the kind of money that you get for that? Like, can you imagine the amount that would do for that country in regards to the growth of rugby? Like, and this is the same thing. Same goes with Moana Pasifika. Like, can you imagine if one of these teams actually won? Just, my God, the financial aspect of getting these teams to be successful would just be phenomenal.
Because I know that the kind of end goal is to try and get more money into the islands. Absolutely. In terms of the rugby development side of it. Because I mean, like, there's so many good players that no one even knows about.
Absolutely.
From the likes of Fiji, Samoa, Tonga.
Cook Islands.
But it's just...
Cook Islands too.
Cook Islands, yes. Oh, tell you what, there could be a few Cook Islands players.
Yeah, I know. While you were talking just then, I realised that I forgot to mention the Cook Islands. So don't forget about your Cook Islands. I know that you're a good rugby league nation. Well, you're okay rugby league nation nowadays. So, what do you mean? What do you mean? Oh,
you were about to say that they were good, and then you're like, you know what? No, I'll just down.
No, like they're okay. They've got players there. They've got players there that makes them on the up-ish. But obviously, I feel like this could obviously start draining those rugby league players into rugby players. To be honest,
because I think the hardest thing for them is going to be limiting it to only about a 40-man squad.
Yeah, I know it will be very difficult. I know the islands, man. I know the islands. It'll be very difficult for them to do that. But yeah, look, I'm excited. Obviously, that's next year. I feel like we should talk about the Super Rugby, man, when it comes to that, because obviously it does get quiet around that time. So obviously, guys, let us know on our channels in the comment section if you do want us to continue talking about the Super Rugby, especially next year, because I'm very excited for it. I'm very passionate about my FIJIAN DRUA.